Hi everyone, I'm Audrey Lambert from Simply Raw Feeding, and we're doing this on behalf of the Raw Feeding Vet Society for our amazing conference on the 19th of July. And I'd love to introduce Dr. Muir, who spoke for us amazingly last year at our conference in Yorkshire, and is coming over to Wales in 3 weeks' time. So welcome, Matt. I know we've had a few issues trying to set this up, but we've done it now. Just a few, really what we're trying to get is just a few snippets of the exciting talks, both on the Friday for Are You Raw Curious and on Saturday for the main conference, that you could just give us a couple of snippets so we can get even more excited about what you're going to talk about.
Sure, sure. And thanks for having me. Very excited to come to Wales in a few weeks. So I guess to set the scene about what I'm speaking about, I guess it's to think about what I do as a vet, which is I'm an integrative veterinarian practicing in Sydney. So I'm bringing a lot of what I've had to learn over the years about nutrition from a clinical perspective and bringing that into my talk, particularly the Saturday talk, which is we're talking about nutrient-based psychiatry. So where dogs are what they eat. We've heard, or you are what you eat. We've heard that saying before. But today, at the conference, I'll be speaking about they think what they eat, and this is thinking about how nutrition affects their behavior and their mood. And that's something that I do a lot in practice nowadays, where I'm looking a lot at the gut-brain axis and thinking about how the gut and nutrition affect mood. I think it's a hot topic nowadays and something that I have definitely found over the years really important, particularly for behavioral challenge cases of pets that have behavioral challenges, using nutrition as a way to improve their behavioral health and their health. And then on the Friday for the Are You Raw Curious event, I'll be speaking about what whole food nutrition is, like what it contains and really what it doesn't have, so what it's free from or generally free from. And that talk is I guess probably more beginner in that it's what I would explain to other veterinarians or other animal health professionals, or even to my clients, about why I'm so passionate about natural feeding and whole food nutrition, raw feeding, and what you get from raw feeding or whole food nutrition, and what you aren't getting. So I think that's really just getting back to basics and understanding the lay of the land about what this all is, from a sort of beginner perspective, but certainly taking away from that, understanding things like, okay, if we're thinking about whole food nutrition, because of the nature of whole food, we've got to talk about all of these other nutrients that wouldn't be there if we were doing ultra processed, complete and balanced feeding. So thinking about all of the phytonutrients, and all of the antioxidants and the omega-3 profiles from whole food nutrition, but then also thinking about saying, okay, if we're thinking about minimally processed food versus ultra processed food, with ultra processed food, in creating it, there's a whole bunch of byproducts through the Maillard reaction product and the excessive heating that create a whole bunch of these products which affect health. And I'll talk more about that on the Saturday, in fact, about how some of these Maillard reaction products seem to affect health in humans and rodents and probably dogs as well. So the two talks are quite different, but obviously they're both about nutrition. The Saturday talk, I'll be diving more into, I guess, what I think about clinically in practice when I'm trying to develop a nutritional strategy and a treatment strategy for a pet. And so I'd be thinking about how do we think about manipulating the microbiome to reduce things like neuroinflammation. How do we think about the conditional essential need for higher requirements of certain nutrients? For example, when a dog is stressed, they will actually lose more magnesium, which is a calming mineral. They'll lose more magnesium through their urine, through their kidneys, and that will actually make the anxiety worse. Will actually deplete the magnesium further. So you have to kind of rescue their magnesium levels to get them out of a state of relative magnesium deficiency. So I'd be
Wow.
thinking about a dog that has anxiety, for example, or reactivity wouldn't need bare minimums of magnesium. I'd be looking at a diet that had a denser magnesium content, for example.
Wow, that's amazing. I love the whole idea of the gut brain. We've been talking about it for years, haven't we? The gut brain communication and how important it is. And also love picked up one thing there, Matt, about a complete and balanced diet if it's kibble, which we all love that saying, don't we? Because there's no such thing as a complete and balanced diet, and if it's kibble, certainly it isn't. But it is. There's nothing that is complete and balanced, because of course we all our dogs all need different nutrients at different points. And I love your fact there about the magnesium. Absolutely fantastic. There's always so much to learn, isn't there? We never ever stop learning, do we?
We don't, and I think that it's certainly important for everyone to think that we've all got more to learn with nutrition, because things are evolving rapidly, and particularly in the age of the omics. So think about the microbiome, metabolomics, and all of the AI, machine learning, that's been brought into research in the last few years, and there's been an explosion of research that looks at ultra processed diets versus minimally processed diets. And that will be something that I'm going to delve into with regards to the evidence in both my talks, because I think it's really important to show people that there is a lot of science around what we're talking about these days. Another thing to think about with changing nutrients is that even for dogs that might need behavioral medications with nutrient-based psychiatry, you can think about and understand that a lot of the medications that are used also deplete nutrients. So that means that you then need to think about adding more nutrient density to the diet for those dogs. So there's a lot of ways that I would use nutrition to support pets with behavioral challenges.
And is that through supplements? Do you have supplements as a company with Leica, or is that just adding certain nutrients to natural nutrients to the food?
Yeah, it depends. We do have a calming supplement for Leica, which includes psychobiotics, so actually probiotic specific strains like BL999 and PS128, which are actually shown to alleviate stress and phobia. But I use a combination of things because it depends on whether or not they're doing a home prepared diet or using a commercial diet. I will use a whole spectrum of herbs and nutraceuticals, some formulations that I've developed myself, and then using a whole bunch of other herbal medicines to interact with the diet if needed, or dietary supplements. But it depends. We've got the flexibility, I guess, to think about whether we're using, which is great nowadays, whether we're using commercial diets, or we're doing a home prepared strategy, or a hybrid of those, and I'll change my thoughts around which supplements I might use depending on which strategy we're doing. So yeah, in practice, I do a whole spectrum of people wanting different styles of either commercial or home prepared diets.
Wow, well, it sounds absolutely fascinating, and I'm not going to push you too much on what's coming, because I think obviously that's for the conference. That's for the conference. That's the exciting one.
I will just mention the other thing that I'll touch on is
Oh,
also thinking about how behavioral enrichment improves, like how we need to think about how diet can improve the welfare of animal through behavioral enrichment. So different diets that are less boring, for example.
and look at the commercial diet of kibble just being so boring. That poor dog gets that scoop of thing every day, and you wonder why they're not very happy individuals. I don't think I'd want a scoop of dry rubbish put in front of me every day. I think it's just that's what we're here for. That's what we're here to learn. And as we mentioned earlier, we never stop learning about nutrition. And I think it's so exciting when you have a dog as a patient and they get better. It's just the most rewarding thing in the world, isn't it? So yeah, can't wait for it. So I can't remember what time you're on the Saturday. I haven't got any of those notes in front of me, but anyone can ask any questions on this. It is a recorded thing for Facebook, but anyone's really welcome to ask me questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. Or maybe Amaya will, because she's not a technical dinosaur like me at all. But yeah, really looking forward to it, Matt. Thank you. And anything else you want to add? I think it's just a little snippets really about
Yeah, I think I'm really excited to go there and meet everyone and answer questions and just have people thinking about all of the options and all of the ways that we can go about understanding nutrition, particularly for the Are You Raw Curious, thinking about the way that you can look at it holistically, the arguments for and against, and looking at all of the evidence. And then with the nutrient-based psychiatry, it's hoping that either for people who are interested in it for their own pets or animal health professionals, be that vets, nutritionists, or behaviorists, to actually start thinking about, well, actually, there's a lot that we need to do with the diet to ensure that any sort of behavioral modification or any other therapies are completely maximized by the nutrition that we put in place, or that we use nutrition instead of treatments that have more side effects. And it's particularly important to think about nutrition for behavioral cases, because behavioral challenges and behavioral issues are a leading cause of death for our pets, particularly young pets. So it's incredibly important that we improve the toolkit, and they need to eat food anyway. We need to be thinking about nutrition that not only supports their brain but their body. So we've got and say something like omega-3 is going to be really important for protecting the brain from brain damage, but it's also great for many facets of more body health. So as it's all connected, we've got to think, how can we strategically find win-wins that both solve the health complaints that we have, whether that's a behavioral problem, prevent future behavioral issues, but also support the body. And so that's kind of how I go about doing things, really looking for strategic win-wins.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, can't wait. Absolutely. Brilliant. Thank you, Matt. Well,
That's my
anyone,
pleasure.
let's say, anyone who's got questions, they're very welcome to ask. Otherwise, we will look forward to seeing everyone on the 19th in Wales, and hope the weather is kind, because you never know in this country, and as I said earlier, it's what we talk about, the Brits. So thank you so much for your time, Matt, and we very much look forward to seeing you in a few weeks' time.